Welcome to Inkfluence of Art Ink Life Coaching. Topic: Shame and Guilt. Don't forget to journal. There are some focus questions at the end to further your understanding. Dialogue for a humanistic approach to guilt and shame. Therapist, be welcome. It's great to have you here. I understand you've been feeling some guilt and shame lately. Can you tell me a little about what's been going on? Client, a flower. Yeah, I've been feeling overwhelmed. There are things in my past I regret, and I often feel ashamed. It's hard to move past it. B, it sounds like these feelings are really weighing on you. From a humanistic perspective, guilt and shame are natural, but they don't define who you are. You have inherent worth, despite mistakes or past actions. Flower, I know that logically, but emotionally, it's hard to believe. I keep thinking I've hurt people and let them down. B, it's common to get stuck in those cycles of self-blame. Let's break it down. Guilt usually stems from feeling like we've done something wrong, while shame often feels like we are inherently wrong. Would you say you're feeling more guilty for your actions or ashamed of who you are? Flower, I guess it's a mix. I feel guilty for things I've done, but there's also this constant shame, like I'm not good enough. B, I hear you. One of the key ideas in humanistic psychology is that we all have the capacity for growth. No matter the past, you can always move toward a healthier, more positive self-image. We focus on your potential rather than your perceived flaws. How do you think carrying this guilt and shame affects your life and relationships right now? Flower, it definitely affects my relationships. I'm more withdrawn, and when I do open up, I feel like I'm constantly apologizing for who I am. B, that's a big insight. Shame can make us pull away or feel like we have to justify ourselves. But remember, relationships thrive on authenticity. What do you think would happen if you allowed yourself to be seen without shame, even with your imperfections? Flower, I don't know. I feel like I'd be rejected. Like people would see the real me and leave. B, it's understandable to have those fears. But humanistic psychology tells us that true connection comes from accepting ourselves first. When we stop judging ourselves so harshly, we open up space for others to accept us, too. What would self-compassion look like for you in this situation? Flower, maybe being nicer to myself, not holding on to every mistake as proof that I'm a bad person. B, exactly. Let's explore that further. What steps can you take this week to practice self-compassion? And how might that shift the way you engage with others? Questions on how shame appears in regular conversations. Scenario, why didn't you invite me to the party? Did I do something wrong? Question, how does shame show up when someone assumes they're always at fault for not being included, and how might this create distance in the relationship? Scenario, I know I'm not as smart as you, so I didn't say anything during the meeting. Question, how does self-deprecation, rooted in shame, undermine communication and create imbalances in relationships? Scenario, I'm sorry if I was too emotional yesterday, I shouldn't have burdened you. Question, how does shame lead to constant apologizing and the belief that expressing emotions is burdensome to others? Scenario, you're too good for me, I don't deserve you. Question, how does this kind of self-diminishing language reflect internal shame, and what impact does it have on the dynamic of the relationship? Scenario, I hate how I reacted yesterday. I'm just not a good person. Question, how does globalizing one's behavior into self-condemnation, shame, impact trust and openness in a relationship? Scenario, I don't want to talk about my past. You wouldn't understand. Question, how does withholding or avoiding communication due to shame limit emotional intimacy? Scenario, I know you're just saying that to make me feel better, but I know I don't deserve it. Question, how does shame lead to dismissing positive feedback or compliments, and how might this create frustration in relationships? Scenario: I've always been bad at relationships. I mess everything up. Question: how does identifying with past mistakes, shame, prevent someone from engaging healthfully in a new relationship? Scenario: it's fine, don't worry about me. I don't need help. Question: how does shame manifest in a refusal to accept support, and what challenges does this create for the relationship's balance of care? Scenario: I don't want you to be disappointed in me, but I keep making the same mistakes. Question: how does the fear of disappointment due to shame affect open communication and trust in a relationship? In these scenarios, shame often leads to withdrawal, self-deprecation, or excessive apologizing, which can erode the foundation of trust, intimacy, and mutual support in a relationship. It can leave the person who isn't dealing with shame feeling distant, confused, or even frustrated by the other's internal struggles.